2015 is a landmark year in politics, with a change of government giving the opposition the opportunity to preside over affairs in the country. Well, it may not have come easy, but the change mantra of the All Progressives Congress gave the people hope of better days ahead. Our correspondent Chukuma Onekusi takes a look at the presidency, the progress and the challenges.
January 14, 2015, former President Goodluck Jonathan and President Muhammadu Buhari signed a peace accord pledging non-violence in the presidential elections. They receive applause from prominent Nigerians and international community for ensuring that the elections did not lead to the breakup of Nigeria as predicted by pessimists. On May 29, there was a change of baton in the presidency. For the first time, an opposition candidate was to boot out an incumbent president in a keenly contested presidential election. President Buhari is ushered in as a new tenant in the presidential villa.
That is the kitchen side.
In his familiarization tour before the handover date, he told journalists that Dr. Jonathan's telephone call congratulating him even before the announcement of the result stabilized the politics.
What I have been saying since that famous telephone call you made, you have changed the course of Nigerian political history.
May 31. President Buhari made his first political appointment, bringing in two journalists, Femi Adesina and Garba Shehu, as presidential spokesmen. They are the ones defending the president's change mantra, which focuses on security, employment, and fight against corruption. Femi Adesina will beat his chest that the administration has the willpower to secure the country.
We will get to a point where bombs no longer explode in Nigeria. We will get there. Whether before December 31 or after, we will get there because there is the will to do it.
Provide jobs for the teeming population.
And the 2016 budget is designed in a way that it will generate employment with focus on agriculture and on solid minerals. Those two sectors will generate a lot of employment for Nigeria.
And he says the fight against corruption is not targeted at anyone, as critics will say.
Anybody who has skeletons in his cupboard can expect that the day of reckoning will come. But anybody that doesn't have skeleton in his cupboard can also be assured that there's nothing to fear.
In the first few months of the administration, President Buhari got in touch with the outside world, seeking for assistance in the areas of security and the fight against corruption. Trips that took him to the United States, France, India, to mention but three. In those trips, fellow presidents pledged to support him. They say his integrity is not in doubt.
President Buhari comes into office with a reputation for integrity.
In one of those foreign trips, the president revealed to journalists what he would like to be remembered for.
I want to be remembered that Nigerians have found out that I was genuine. I was a real patriot. Not that I only fought the civil war, but I fought corruption to stand still.
While President Buhari was busy making contacts abroad, back home, critics say they are witnessing trips too many. Criticism the presidency will not let lie low.
People will always talk. If he doesn't travel again, they say he's too desk-bound. In most of those trips, you find world leaders there. The last cycle of trips from Iran to Malta to France to South Africa, almost the same set of leaders were in those fora. Now, if he had stayed back home and he didn't attend, those same people will cry, oh, we have a domestic president who is warming the bench.
The Buhari's administration kicked off without a cabinet, but the ministers were to come 5 months after, but not without a barrage of criticisms by the opposition. In all, the presidency defends itself.
All the while the cabinet was not formed, things were not at a standstill. The country was moving.
At their swearing in, the president told the ministers not to betray the confidence reposed in them. The relationship between the presidency and the National Assembly came to the fore this year. Twice, the president met with the senator and the House of Representatives members. In all, his message remains the same: fight against corruption. An eventful year for the presidency. A presidency that says it sees a brighter future for Nigerians, no matter how tough it looks now. Chukwuma Onwekusi, Channels Television News.
Now, to take a look at the presidency in 2015, I'm now being joined on the news at 10 by a lecturer of political science in the University of Lagos, Dr. Dele Ashiru. Thank you so much for joining us on the news at 10 tonight.
Thank you for bringing me here.
All right, now we've had new hands in office for over 6 months now. How would you assess performance and leadership style? Let's start from there.
In terms of performance, we can say that the president is performing. At least as we can see, he's gone to France, he's gone to America and all that. But all the pains at home are still here with us. And one will want to think that while he moves out to relate with the international world, he should not also forget that the strength to negotiate abroad stems from our domestic capacity. So if we're weak up at home, it will be very difficult for us to project that image that we want to do, we want to project outside the country. By and large, one can say that, it's a far cry from what we used to have, at least in the first 6 months of the year, but a lot still needs to be desired.
Now, there are key areas that the APC campaign ran on before the government came in. Let's look at them. Anti-corruption, we had the job creation, youth unemployment, diversification of the economy. We take them one after the other. Anti-corruption fight.
Well, in terms of anti-corruption, as we can see in Nigeria at the moment, the anti-corruption agencies suddenly are becoming alive to their responsibilities. Prior to now, one would think that those agencies, are mere apparatuses of government with no clear function. But now we can see them at least, making some arrests, putting some people before the court, etc. But I think that the fight against corruption needs to go beyond that. Because in a country where, you are contemplating of reducing the minimum wage of 18,000 naira, it will be difficult to fight corruption in that regard. So the fight against corruption must move beyond making arrests and announcing these, outrageous figures that people have stolen from the coffers of government, to really looking at the lives of the people, the life, the net worth of Nigerians.
But a lot of people have their issues with those arrests that are being made, particularly when someone is let out on bail, and as you step out of the courtroom, the person is nabbed again. While you say the agencies are alive to their responsibilities, it's not coming without criticism.
Well, it is also not right that people will be arrested as soon as they are granted bail. In a democracy, there are procedures. If you feel very strongly that somebody needs to be rearrested, there are procedures. You need to go back to the court, you get a warrant, and get the person arrested. But for a court to release somebody on bail, and then a few individuals are grabbing the same individual and bundling him into a vehicle, doesn't speak well of our democracy, especially at this moment.
What about job creation and youth unemployment? Are you seeing signs that that plan is in motion?
Well, I'm not seeing any signs, because if we continue to follow the neoliberal paradigm, it will be extremely difficult for us to create jobs. The state needs to intervene in critical sectors of the economy. I'm glad that the presidential spokesman talked about diversification of the economy, particularly in terms of agriculture. But the kind of intervention that I'm looking at is not the type that we witnessed under the former Minister of Agriculture, wherein all that we had was mere sloganeering about, agricultural development without anything to show for it. So the state must intervene in the agricultural sector. And once that is done, it would afford the state the opportunity to open up the economy for people to come into the agricultural sector and, create jobs for the teeming majority. Poverty eradication strategies wherein you buy keke marua and a few okada for people is not the way to go at all.
All right, looking ahead to 2016 now, in terms of policy direction, that's the one key issue that economists are complaining about. Do you see that having a clear path for 2016 quickly now?
Well, in terms of policy direction, although the pervasive position is that we should continue this neoliberal paradigm in terms of privatization, commercialization, and liberalization of the economy. But in my view, I think that these are roads that we have passed before and there are no results.
Right.
For us, in 2016, the state must be prepared to intervene in critical sectors of the economy.
Right.
And I'm not only saying this, this is contained in the Nigerian constitution, wherein it is stated there that the commanding heights of the economy will be in the hands of the state. And if you look at the chapter 2 of the constitution, you find a long list of what the state must do, which they are not doing at the moment.
All right, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there. Lecturer of Political Science, Dr. Dele Ashiru. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. Other news at 10 tonight.
Thank you very much for bringing me.